klar til alle målinger. Det er vi nemlig, og der er 100.000 kroner.
What is it? Who is it for?
Og så er det aftens deltager i aften. Du skal i hvert fald gå ind og downloade appen, en af dem.
Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are tuning in from. Exciting topic here today. We're going to talk about tools. And this is a very, not just exciting topic, but it is a very important topic. So here we are. It is the 27th of August. Can you believe it? How fast this month has gone, how fast this year is going. Before we snap our fingers, we are going to be into a new year. Anyway, I hope this year is going great for you. But listen, let's talk about tools. And, one of the, I've been having some special guests come on. And then on the off weeks, when I don't have a special guest come on, we've been kind of going through the chapters of my book. Okay. And that's right now, chapter 7, which is the magic of tools. And so that's what our main topic is going to be. And so I hope that we have a great conversation, some good engagement from you guys discussing how you've used tools and such. So anyway, with that being said, the magic of tools. One of the things that I talk about all the time is that everything you do, right, sets an example of what others think they have to do. So let's talk about that in the sense of tools. If you're not using tools, guess what? Your team is not using tools. So, because one of the things we have a tendency to do is we have a tendency to talk about one thing and do another. Right? We try to shortcut the process and not do, but we always have to remember in building a network marketing company, okay, a network marketing business. This is one of the most important things there is always, always, always remember that everything you do sets that example of what others think they have to do. So when you're prospecting, when you're building belief in someone, and if you're taking it all upon yourself, meaning you're doing all the talking and you're not using tools, but you're just trying to explain and answer questions and explain the comp plan and all that kind of thing, that is not duplicatable. That is not a duplicatable program. What is duplicatable is tools, right? And so, I have notes here in my book. It says, tools work when you're not there, right? You see, the thing of it is, when you're not using tools, it's all about your ability and your time. And when you're not there, everything stops. But if you're using tools, the tools can continue to work when you're not there, right? And this duplicates online because you can do this with your team. Again, if you're not using tools, your team's not using tools, when people aren't available, or many times we look at ourselves as the major tool and we have to be involved in everything. So if something happens to us, we slow down, everything slows down. We take off, everybody takes off because they're all dependent on us. So this whole concept of tools, guys, is incredibly, incredibly important. So tools work when you're not there. Tools work in depth. One of the things also about duplication, like, sharing your story, sharing the message of the company, sharing the message of the comp plan, is as it duplicates and goes deeper, if it's not done through a tool, guess what? It gets distorted. The message gets diluted, gets distorted. And, you've probably heard this, saying that you start like with a group of people and you tell the person next to you, something, and then they tell the person next to them something. And they tell the person, they pass that exact same thing. You tell, I'm looking at Blair here on the screen and I tell Blair that, I tell him something. And then, he turns to the person next to him and repeats that. And that just continues to roll down. By the time it gets to the 10th person, it doesn't even resemble the original message, right? So this is, again, why tools are so important, is because they tell a perfect story every single time. They tell a consistent story every single time. It doesn't change. It duplicates. Okay, so again, here in my book, I've got tools work when you're not there, tools work in depth, tools work long distance, right? Especially in this day and age, the way this is a tool, Zoom is a tool. is, it's a small world out there. And the way, these companies work, most of them are allowing you to build, not just outside of your town, outside of your country, in other parts of the world. And so tools work long distance. And so that's important. And tools, I got in here, tools work every time. And so you need to, again, and one of the things I always talk about too is this personal checkup, right? Asking yourself all the time, how am I doing, right? Scale of 1 to 10, kind of gauge yourself. How am I doing on a scale of 1 to 10? How am I doing, in my prospecting? How am I doing in my follow-up? How am I doing in building people's belief? How am I doing, in using tools? How am I doing in 3-way phone calls? How am I doing? So just kind of, ask yourself that question right now. How are you doing? How are you doing in the area of utilizing tools? Are you, being lazy? And you think, well, using tools is lazy. No, not using tools is lazy. Somebody asks you a question, explain the comp plan to me, and then you go ahead and try to do it versus, I got a short little video that can help you understand that. They want to know about the product. There's a great website that can help you understand that, right? So utilizing tools to literally answer every question, overcome every objection, build that belief, move someone to a decision, help them understand what order they need to place. If you adopt a tool philosophy, I'm telling you, that duplicates, and that's going to grow your business way beyond you. Because if your business is dependent on you and your unique ability and your way of explaining, everybody's dependent on you and nobody duplicates. They all wait for you. Okay, so I hope this is making sense to you. The other thing that is very important is, what do you want people to say, right? What do you want people to say? What you really want, you're offhand, you think, well, I want people to say yes, right? No, what you want people to say is, I can. Right? If they can say, if they can see themselves doing it, if when you're prospecting them and what the question, you don't want them to say, yes, I want to do this. No, you want them to say to themselves, I can do this. Because if they can do it, they'll do it. Right? But if you make it all about how talented you are, how great you are about sharing a story, explaining things, presenting, if it's all about that, you might get them excited, but they're going to wake up the next day and guess what? They're going to say, I can't do that. Right? So this whole concept of tools is incredibly important. So you want people to say, I can do it. Do I have time to do it? Right? That's the other thing. We find ourselves, spending hours with people. And what does that duplicate? What example is that setting? That it's going to take them hours. Right? When you use tools can work while they're driving down, while they're multitasking, while they're driving, while they're working out, while they're laying in bed. So tools work, they're very, very time efficient, right? And so, and they work when you're not there. And am I willing to do it? One of the biggest challenges I think people have is they maybe say, I can do this, I can do this, but then the question is, are they willing to, right? And if you make someone uncomfortable, if then they say, it sounds really good and all that, it's just, I can't do that. Okay, I'm not comfortable doing that. So all of these little things, guys, I'm telling you, there's so much psychology, right, in growing and duplicating a successful network marketing business. There's so much, and it's keeping it duplicatable. It's keeping it simple. Okay, so let's just assume for a moment that I have convinced you, I have sold you on the importance and of using tools. Okay, now let's talk about how we use them, because that's equally as important, right? You can't just send somebody a video and expect them to watch it. Okay, we have somebody that I think is not on mute. I hear some background noise. If you could check if that's you. So again, this is very important too, is how you set the tool up, how you position the tool. See, your job, I always talk about this, our job is to stimulate an interest, right? Your job is, it's just like you hear me talk about it in presentations all the time, that you learn everything you need to know in network marketing in kindergarten. It's called show and tell, right? We tell stories about our company, about our products, about what's happened to us and what's happened to others. The other thing you hear me make a comparison to is, just like going to a good movie or eating at a great restaurant, right? And you're excited about that. And when you tell somebody about that movie, you don't tell them the entire movie. You just tell them that they need to see it, right? And you say it with enthusiasm, and you say, this movie's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, I was on my edge of my chair. I mean, you share an exciting message, okay, to get them to want to. If you tell them the whole movie, then they don't think they need to see it. And you probably didn't do a very good job, and then they don't even want to see it because you probably didn't do a good job of relaying it, right? So when you're prospecting and you're positioning a tool, think about that tool just like trying to tell somebody about a really great movie that you saw. You want to pique that interest to get them anxious to receive that tool. They can't wait to receive and review that tool, that video, that website, that audio, that Zoom, right? Again, one of the other things you should write down in a Post-it note and put it on by your phone or where you're prospecting is say less to more people. I mean, that's one of the things we do all the time is we talk too much. So your job, okay, in positioning a tool is your job is to stimulate an interest, to get them out. They can't wait to receive that, because the mistake that we make is we send out tools and we don't get them excited about receiving the tool, or we don't even tell them that we're sending them the tool. And very few of those tools that are sent, whether it's sending them a website, whether it's sending them a video, an audio, inviting them, if you don't create that excitement, that anticipation, that piquing that interest for them to want to look, review, watch, read, listen, whatever it is, you have to do that. Just look at it again, just like telling somebody about that restaurant or about that movie. Right. So that's an incredibly important, time to do it. So, and again, I use tools in every part of my business. Initially prospecting, right? In building belief. And again, what do I do when I'm trying to build belief? I'm looking at Blair here again. So let's say, I sent Blair a video and maybe invited him on to a Zoom. And when I'm following up with him, what am I doing? Okay. I'm saying, Blair, I might be answering a few questions, overcoming a few objections, but what am I ultimately doing is I'm trying to find out what's holding him back. How do you find out what's holding him back? Is you ask him, Blair, on a scale of, 1 to 10, 10 being ready to get started, where are you? And he's going to give me a number. He's a 10. But let's just say he says he's a 7. And I'm going to say, okay, great. Blair, what's holding you back? What do you need to see? What can I do? What needs to happen to move you to a 10? And then the key to this whole technique is silence. Let him think. Let him give you something, right? Well, to be honest with you, I got a wedding coming up, this, and that's just consuming my thoughts. Or and maybe it's finances, or maybe it's a negative spouse, or maybe I need to understand the comp plan, or I need to try the products. You need to find out guys, I'm telling you, this is magic, right? The scale of 1 to 10, 10 being ready to get started. Where are you? And then when you find out what's holding them back, guess what you do? Now you go find the appropriate tool, right? You find the appropriate tool. I don't understand how to get started or where I should get started. Well, guess what? I got a little 5-minute video that can help you better understand why you should join with a business pack, right? And so that's a question. Another little, and this is a tool, right? This is a tool. When somebody can't make a decision, let's say Blair says he's a 9, but he just can't tell me yes. I might just say, could it be, Blair, that you're already a 10? You just are a little bit scared, right? And you wrap your arms around him, and in a sense, figuratively, or I'm not sure what the word would be, but in the sense of, hey, we're in this business together, right? If you don't make any money, I don't make any money. The other thing you can do to help someone who's stuck, right? They can't seem to make the decision. right? And the last thing you want to do is beat them to death, right? What you want to do is help that person make that decision. And so what I have found is that one of the best ways to do that is, Ben Franklin, he had a formula to make decisions. As he said, he would take a pad of paper and he said he would put a line down the center. And on one side, he'd put all the pros, all the reasons why this makes sense, why I should do this. And on the other side of the paper, he'd put all the cons, all the reasons why not. And here's the key to the formula. He said, I made the commitment up front to do whatever the paper tells me. Okay, so you need to, Blair is having a hard time making this decision. He can't really tell me what's holding him back, right? And I may help him, say, Blair, listen, I've been in your shoes. I know sometimes it's so difficult. You don't want to make the wrong decision, and so you make no decision. I want you to make a decision, Blair, that you sleep like a baby at night, that you feel confident in your decision, whether it's to do this or not to do this, whatever that might be. And so one of a great way to do this is we refer back to Ben Franklin, and I'm telling him this. Ben Franklin said when he was faced with a tough decision, he really wanted to make sure he made a good decision. He would take a pad of paper, put a line down the center, and on one side he put the pros, the other side he put the cons. And here's the key, Blair, is you have to make the commitment up front to do whatever the paper tells you. Okay, is that fair enough? And I if you want, I'll even help you do it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to help him with all the reasons why to do this business. I'm going to add, you hate your job, you hate your boss, you're in credit card debt, whatever it is. I'm helping him build that list of pros. And when it comes to the list of cons, I'm going to let him build that list on his own because I can't come up with anything. Right. And the picture is so incredibly clear. Literally, they can't tell you no at that point. Guys, this is it's an incredible, powerful technique. Let's call it a tool, right? Something anybody can do. It's in my book. And guys, if you haven't read my book yet, send me a message. I'll somehow get you a copy of it, right? If you're international, and it is available on Amazon as well. Incidentally, I do want to also, for any of you new people that might be joining us today that don't know yet, we're streaming on YouTube here, and I have a YouTube channel, a couple hundred videos on there, videos just like what we're recording here right now, a short little 90-second, 2-minute videos on various tips from how to do a three-way, whatever it is, a wealth of information there. And so if you haven't been to my YouTube channel, do it, subscribe to it, hit the notification button, and share it. If you like it, if you think there's value there, share with other people, right? So they can experience and get some of that information. So back to what I'm talking about here. I think you can sense my energy, my excitement, my belief in how and why to use tools, that tools have to be, positioned properly. And give you another example. And this was a few years back. And the three-way phone call, right? I believe is one of the most powerful tools there is, right? And I remember I'm doing a small little meeting, and it was actually in a doctor's office. And this lady said to me, John, I just can't, find anyone that wants to do the business. All I can find is people that want to use products. I can't find anyone, that wants to do the business. And I says, wow, that's crazy. I said, and the three-way's not working, not helping, the three-way calls not helping, them, see the business opportunity. And she says, well, I haven't done any three-ways. And I said, exactly, right? I promise you, if you would have done three-way phone calls with me or someone in your upline, to help them see it a different way, we'd have some of those people doing the business. Right. So, the three-way phone call, again, an unbelievably important tool. And so I use the three-way phone call constantly. And I don't need the three-way phone call, right? I can bring somebody in, but if I'm bringing somebody in, I'm doing the three-way phone call, because guess what? If I don't use the three-way phone call, I'm setting an example. They don't have to either. You have to do it. Right? Even if you can get them done yourself, you can bring them in. If you don't do the three-way phone call, they don't experience it, and then they don't duplicate it. And then it breaks down, right? Here's the other magic of the three-way phone call. I mean, we could do a whole session just on the magic of a three-way phone call, but when you do a three-way phone call, okay, number one is it's third-party documentation, right? You could tell them something, I could come in as a third person, tell them almost the exact same thing, and they'll somehow hear it differently, right? It makes it's like that you know, what do they always say what an expert is? It's the person from out of town with a briefcase, right? It's as many times we're too close to people where they don't really, you know, listen to us. They might hear us, but they don't really listen to us. Or and when a third party comes in, could say the almost same thing. They're almost like, gosh, why didn't you tell me that? You know, well, you did. It's just they didn't really hear it because it's you, right? That third party telling that same story makes a major difference. The other thing about a three-way phone call is every time we do a three-way phone call, you know, as I'm answering questions, I'm overcoming objections, right? I'm telling my story. I'm building rapport, right? I'm helping move that person to a decision. I'm asking the scale of 1 to 10. I'm maybe doing the Ben Franklin. What is happening? As I'm doing that, guess what? All of that information is going through your ears into your prospect's ears. So I'm not just, you know, setting duplication, but I'm training you on the subtleties, on how to answer those questions and how to overcome. So, you know, guys, coming back to the personal checkup, let's ask ourselves again, am I doing three-way phone calls? Or am I trying to shortcut it? Oh, I don't want to bother my upline. I can just do this. You're breaking the duplication down, right? So all this stuff, guys, is incredibly powerful and important. And again, that's what my whole book is all about. It's about right or almost right, right? It's making that little adjustment from, you know, hey, I can just bring this person in myself versus doing the three-way phone call, right? So it's all these little subtleties that make such a major difference, you know, in the outcome. So again, so I've been rambling here for you know, 22 minutes. So let's go ahead and take some time, get some input, some feedback, you know, some thoughts from you guys. Annie? Oh, you were just off. Who wants to jump in here and give us some insight, some comments? Blair, I've been talking to you all day. I see you came off mute. Let's hear what you have to say.
Well, John, it's so incredible that everything you said today about the tools, and it's so incredibly important. And that Share Valentis app is just a godsend. I tell you, like, I always remember we were talking, like, for years, we were talking about tools, and it's always, okay, how do I get this done? How do I get that person? And we started working with you, and all the videos you have were powerful. But the fact that Share Valentis app is there for the new person, and bang, you're talking to somebody, click, and they've got it like when you're sitting there having coffee. I mean, that has just been an amazing tool to have. And just thank you and Dave and all the guys at the corporation who brought this together, because that has made our job so much easier. And I can be talking to somebody back in Canada, chit-chatting with them, and tell you, I'll have something to you in the next 3 seconds, and they've got it. It's just so powerful, so powerful. So it is nothing but amazing what you guys have put together for us to build our business on the tool side of it. And if you have not read John's book, read John's book. You have to get that book. It's just such an incredible book. So, John, everything you said today is just what we live by. Another word, distance, is even more important for us to make use of those tools. So just thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thank you, Blair, for that feedback. And I want to kind of tag off of what you're talking about there from the tool, from the app, because it's one-stop shopping. Before that app, we didn't know where to find any of this stuff. You hear us talk about these videos or that, well, where do I go? Where do I find it? Everything's in the app. More things are being added to the app, right? The brand new video is in the app, right? So, and it's notification driven. What do we always say? The fortune is in the follow-up, right? We can send somebody that video, but if they don't watch it, we don't know when to follow up. When they watch that, you can literally, hey, Blair, 3 days has passed, and all of a sudden I get notified that you just watched the opportunity video. And if I'm able, the faster the better, I give you a quick call. Hey, Blair, I see you just finally had a chance to watch that video. you know, I just, why you were thinking about it and just watched it. I wanted to just catch you and, you know, invite you on to this Zoom or, you know, answer your questions. So the notification aspect of that, guys, it tracks all of the interaction that you have with that prospect. So Blair says, you know, and you know, it really sounded, you know, great, but I want to know more about this product. So then I send them something on that product, or I need to know more about the comp plan. So I send them something on that comp plan. You know, I'm ready to get started. What's the best way to get started? I send them the video on why start with a business pack, right? So, and it's all notification driven, right? So it's phenomenal. Now, incidentally, guys, this Saturday, right? So tomorrow, you know, the corporate Zoom is on the app. Nate Cox is going to be training us on the app tomorrow morning. So, you know, get on that Zoom, you know, tomorrow with the company and, you know, get more information on that app. But we're working on a lot of tools and a lot of stuff as it relates to that app. Anyone else want to jump in here?
All right, John, here I am.
You're a regular, Robin. I mean, you know,
waiting.
we get to hear you every week. So
I try.
Let us, what you thinking?
Well, I just want to say, you know, utilize those tools. They are fabulous. And if you've never used them before, if you've never used the app before, you know, you can send them to yourself so you can kind of see what it's like. You can, how I did it was I sent it to my sister. I really wanted her to be involved in it with me. And so it was kind of my way to get her to help me out by helping her out at the same time without really her knowing. And so she was able to look through everything that I was sending her as I was watching her watch things. And then I could go to my next option. We were just kind of playing with it together. So if you guys haven't used the app yet, you know, you can use your family and your friends to help practice your first few times utilizing those tools to help you out get started.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate on that too. I have something to say about everything. And so what Robin's talking about is very important, right? Is you need to understand what's in there. You need to understand how it works, what the person on the other end receiving it is seeing. Okay, and how that notification comes back to you so you're confident in it. So sending it to yourself, sending it, as you said, to your sister, sending it to your kids, you know, send it to a prospect, you know, and say, hey, listen, I'm just getting started in this new business. We got this app. I'm not exactly sure how it works. You know, would you mind if I send you something and it's actually supposed to notify me? It's supposed to tell me how long you watched it. And if you watched it, you know, if I send it, would you take a look at it? I mean, that might be a kind of a backdoor way to prospect somebody, you know, that you're a little bit nervous to prospect. Hey, help me out here. So that's great. Who else wants to jump in?
Hey, John, this is Karen Ford.
Hey, Karen.
I love the app. I can't wait for tomorrow because I was very reluctant because I guess I'm old school. So you know how it's like when you've made good money and you've never done that. It took me a while to start using it. But one thing, guys, if you have not, I would upgrade. I just upgraded last week. And oh my gosh, everything that you see now that I've upgraded, I can do my whole business right on the phone. I know everything. I know how many people came in. I know how many people have ordered. I know how much money I've made to the date. I know how many new people came on board. Everything is so available now. And we've always talked about, you know, we should be able to build an empire from the point and click system. And that's exactly what you guys have put together with the app. I just feel comfortable now, and I feel more comfortable now that I upgraded. So I think I'm kind of promoting y'all need to upgrade because it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Karen, because, you know, it really is true. Anything new to us can be scary. And so we slip back into our old, you know, what we know and our kind of our old habits. And so, you know, you have to make that conscious decision to kind of force yourself through that learning curve because what's happened to me now is I'm so app driven. that I mean, literally when I'm working with a company, bank, whatever, dry cleaners, it don't matter if they don't have an app. I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to find another company that has an app that I can, do my banking, or, be able to do my dry cleaning through the app, or, book my hair appointment. Believe it or not, I do get my hair cut. It's pretty easy, but I do go somewhere, but I book it on an app. Yes,
And
it's
dyed,
great, Cliff.
and dyed, right?
What's that?
And you get your hair dyed too, right?
Yeah, no, well, I don't know. Could you dye them? I'd have to, like, when it's that short, but but you know what I do? I get my hair cut at Great Clips, and they got a phenomenal app. Tells you all of them, all around you, what the waiting time is, and you pick one, and you just go there and not have to wait in line. And people are waiting in line, and all of a sudden I jump ahead, and they're like, "How'd you do that?" Well, I booked it on the app. So once you make that transition, it's so incredibly efficient and such. So who else wants to jump in here and share a thought or an idea?
John, I'd like to. This is Kathy Gustafson. I want to kind of piggyback a little bit with Karen. Karen has been in it far longer than I, and I've been one of those people who've been trying to figure it out. And I'm learning through the Share Valentis app and some of these things, how to let go and trust the process. And by using the Share Valentis app, I feel like my life has become a little bit more free. I'm not babysitting so much, because I know I'm going to get the information that I need. I know I can call after they get it and give them that few minutes to check it out again, or see how far they've come. And all the things that you're speaking of, the training that you get from that app is phenomenal. I know when one of my latest reps that got on, she is just a wonderful, wonderful gal, Karen Small. She is phenomenal. And I know that is one of the things that she went to a lot to get some of her back office training and all that. So it's more than reaching out to all your prospects. It is wonderful when your prospects become reps, and you want them to learn. It's just so nice to know that you don't have to lean just on yourself, but you've got that whole team of people helping you. So I just want to thank you so much for it. I look forward to the days ahead with it. I think it's going to be an exciting asset to everything that we're all doing. So thanks.
Yeah, no question. And you got to kind of force yourself into it, don't you? Because it's new, and how does it work? It can be frustrating, but once you get it, it's just like, man, why did I ever resist this? But one of the things you said that was very interesting is you said, trust the process. Okay, you said, I got to trust the process. So try that. Trust what I'm talking about here in the duplication process of everything you do sets that example of what others think they have to do, instead of trying to talk someone to death, right? Stimulate that interest in that prospect. Send them the video, right? Through the app. Call them back when you get notified that they've watched it. And if they only watched, 2 minutes of the 5-minute video, you call them back and say, hey, listen, I just saw you only watched 2 minutes of that. Did you not like it, or run out of time? Or I just want to, and re-stimulate that interest. I mean, they'll be blown away that that, right? Right. So, in what she talked about, trust the process, do the follow-up in the timely basis, do the 3-way phone call. Don't try to talk too much and make you the issue. Let the tools do the work. Your job, again, the whole key to the tool, though, is positioning. If you send somebody a video, you send somebody a link, you send somebody a tool, and you don't set that tool up, that tool is not going to work. Right? Rarely is going to work. You have to stimulate the interest, get them excited about receiving that video, excited about going to that website, excited about attending that Zoom. But if you give them too much information, now they think they know what it's about. They think they can't do that. I don't have the time for that. If you really take to heart what I'm talking about here, and just, say, well, I'm actually going to do this. I am going to resist the temptation to just fall back into what I always do, and I'm gonna force myself to do this. I'm gonna force myself to give this a try, run a half a dozen prospects through what I'm talking about here, utilizing the tools, stimulate the interest, don't talk too much, use the tool to build the next process, use the three-way phone call, and you'll be blown away. Because again, what did I say at the very beginning of this? Right? I'm just going to review it for those of you that might have joined late. Let me get to this. Okay. So what do you want somebody to say? Not yes. Okay. They're not going to say yes unless they said, I can do this, right? You want them to say, I can do this. If they say I can do this, they're going to say yes, right? But if they say yes and they don't believe they can do it, they're not going to do it. So so that's where duplication comes in and so important. Do I have time to do this? Am I willing to do this? Right. The other thing that I talk about, tools work when you're not there. Tools work in depth. Tools work long distance. Tools work every single time. Tools simply duplicate, and people don't duplicate. Tools duplicate. Right. So, if your business is dependent on you, you're never going to grow it too far. And if you get sick, you take off, you slow down, everything slows down. So we're running out. We got a few more minutes here. Who else wants to jump in here and share some thoughts?
Me, John. PayPal.
Hey.
PayPal.
Love it.
Yeah, the tool is great, John. There's so much tool that we can do. We can bridge the gap to international. We can build a big business, not only America. And but still, we gotta go to the basic. We still need to talk to the human. So engagement with the tool. If you just dapping your finger on your screen, it's not gonna work. You have to say something and feel vibration, the voice of your voice, something, and that's how people feel, and that's people gonna get to know you. That they know that you're not a troll or a bot. Nowadays everybody can send you a link, to your message, and it's getting annoying. And the thing is, back to the basic, plug in the system, personal development. That's the key. And, stick with it and come to the Zoom like yours. I mean, I love it. Every time I listen to you, I implement, and I develop my skill, especially the speaking skill, especially we are building the leader. It's a networking, you have to build the people, connection. That's all I can say, John. This is like PayPal. I make sure I get paid. Thank you.
Okay, well, fantastic. And, I just want to say, how important that is, what he's talking about there. And the thing about it is if you utilize the tools, you're going to see the results. And if you try to make it all about you, you might have some temporary success, but it's not going to duplicate the way you need it to duplicate, the way you want it to duplicate. And all these things, doing the proper follow-up, all these things are important. They're all important. I actually talk about this too. This business is if there's a recipe, if there's a recipe, let's say there's a recipe to make a cake. And if you leave a couple ingredients out, you might have something, but it's not a cake, right? I mean, if you leave some ingredients out, it's not going to taste the same. It's not going to look the same. It's not going to be the same. People aren't going to like it. So follow the formula, follow the recipe. Anybody else before we say goodbye here for this Friday? Okay, well, listen, guys, fantastic. Next Friday, I have a special guest. I've got Triple Diamond, Shani Whalen from the United Kingdom. She's just a phenomenal, just rock solid leader. She's going to be with me next Friday. We're going to have kind of a discussion. We're going to learn a little bit about what she's doing, have some talking points. And so join me for that. And of course, Monday, at this same time, same Zoom code, we're going to do an opportunity overview, and we're going to have some great testimonials lined up for you as well. So with that, have a fantastic day, guys, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye now.
Thank you, John.